Do my best.
Thank you so much for joining us for 5 fundamentals for right now. Really exciting time in the market. Really exciting time to put these kind of events on. We did our first one, I don't know, about 3.5 weeks ago. Really tremendous success. And for a coaching company, it's an exciting time because people are really engaged to get some content again. We have literally had more people reach out to us nationwide over the last 3 weeks to get on a plane, travel, teach some classes than we have over the last 2.5 years combined. So I think we're seeing number one, like with the pandemic, it's a little bit easier to get in big rooms, have people travel. And number two, let's call it what it is. Like, let's get realistic on where the market's at. It's changing. It has changed. I was with a leading mortgage broker a couple of weeks ago, or actually last week for dinner. He said refis in his office, he's not just a broker, he got about 70 loan officers that work for him. He said refis in his office are down 88%. And on top of that, mortgage applications were down in the mid-60s. How's that not going to impact our business if consumers going to get loans are down 60+%? It's going to happen. So this whole class about back to basics, proven fundamentals are going to work right now. Just some things I want to add to it is database. That's going to be covered by Darcy in a big group this afternoon. But the question I want each of you to ask yourself is, if you closed a house a year ago today, what are we on, like September 30th? So 1 year ago today, you closed a house, you got the keys to a buyer. How frequently have you communicated with them? How many times have you seen them? How many touches have you sent? How many market updates have you provided? And if that answers a dozen or a couple dozen, great job. That's a client you're staying with a relationship with, and likely a client that's going to lead to referrals and or repeat business. If you busted your ass, did all the things that we need to do to get exceptional customer service, and you hand them keys a year ago today, and they really haven't heard from you of any capacity, that is a massive lost opportunity. And then this opportunity you just can't afford to lose in the kind of market we're going into. Next up is lead follow-up. This was on a recent forum that I screenshot and shared with my personal team. The order takers are about to get wrecked. Josh, the order takers are about to get wrecked. I do love the word wrecked. And the skillionaires will soon be millionaires. The order takers are about to get wrecked and the skillionaires will become millionaires. What do you think that means, Cooley?
I hear being reactive versus intentional.
100%. 100%. Whether you sell 1,000 homes a year or 20 homes a year or 12 homes a year, there's no judgment. It's your business. That's fantastic. But there has been a tremendous amount of order taking over the last 18 months. For my 2+ decades in this industry, I've never seen more consumers show up at my team's doorstep on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And by Saturday, they're making offers at $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, or $100,000 over asking. Like, we literally just met these people 48, 72 hours ago, in some circumstances like 12 hours ago. And next thing we know, they're throwing out an offer, removing most contingencies, and coming in $50,000 over asking. That's order taking. And that is virtually disappeared nationwide from the agents we're talking to and coaching with. It's really moved into that longer, slower relationship, providing value, data, follow-up, and essentially being a great agent. So I just love that quote that somebody put online, is that the order takers are about to get wrecked. The skillionaires will soon become millionaires. Expense management. Never been more important. We know mortgage applications in some cities are down 65%. No matter how, we are absolutely starting. There we go, Josh. I got my first smile of the day.
Not it.
We know that there's a transitional time in a changing market where finances are impacted. I'm excited. Every top agent I know is off the charts excited of what's to come, right? Where there's market share to be taken, but during the transitional period, finances may go down. Income may go down a little bit. You might be reinvesting that into some new strategy. We're going to talk about some of those today. So expense management is critical. And I believe more than ever, ladies and gentlemen, follow a schedule. Please follow a schedule. You didn't have time to follow a schedule before. You were too busy writing 7 offers per client at 100,000 over asking, just trying to get something accepted. We know unequivocally, for the vast majority of us on this call nationwide, our sales are looking a little bit different now than we expected this July and August. They just are. which means we've got some extra time to have an efficient time block schedule to study our finances, to plan our business, to do our lead follow-up. So those are just some strategies that are super simple we can all put in place. And without further ado, let's get into our speakers and let's hear what they have to say. Really pumped. We've got Mr. Chase Craig coming from Boise, Idaho, one of the fastest, hottest growing markets in the country. Chase is also he's a coach, obviously. All of our presenters here are coaches. He's also a group coach. And in the next 60 days, we're likely going to be launching an incredible class he's put together called Grit. So if you want some more info on that, just put it in the subject line or reach out to Laura on our team. She'll put her email in. She'll give you some info on Grit, which is group coaching. Wow. Good morning. All right. Well, that's probably my cue to turn it over to Mr. Chase Craig.
All right. Hey, thank you so much, Craig. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm going to give a shout out real quick for those of you who are not already getting the email every single week from Rieger Coaching and Consulting. Craig and his team sent out a phenomenal email. And well before I joined RCC, a year and a half ago or so, I was reading these emails each and every single week. So I highly, highly encourage you to take a look at that email. So let's dive in. Okay. Ross, are you out there, buddy? There he is.
I'm here.
So Ross is another coach with me here at Rieger Coaching and Consulting. I asked him to help with me. I told him I'd give him the easiest role-playing job ever. But I want you guys to imagine with me for just a second, okay, that think about the most popular place in your area. In my area in Boise, it's probably going to be the Village in Meridian. It's this beautiful, like, new shopping center, high-end shopping place, but there's tons of people there. So I want you to go somewhere in your area where there's at least 1,000 people, and I'm going to give you a task. Okay, Ross, you've got to go ask 1,000 people at that area. And I know you live in Portland, so there's probably lots of areas you can find 1,000 people. In Boise, we have like one. So, but you got to go ask 1,000 people for $10. Okay.
Okay.
So
no problem.
Yeah, no problem for us. Yeah. So Ross, I come up to you and you're one of my 1,000 people, and I say, hey, Ross, can I have $10?
No.
Oof. Okay. Next one. Hey, Ross, can I have $10? Ross, 2?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. All right. So you guys can just feel the cringe here. You're going to speak with 1,000 strangers and you're going to ask them for money. Now, Ross, just real fast, you told me no. As the person who's asking for money, like, it didn't feel very good, right? Like I didn't feel good asking because I figured you're going to say no. And then when you did say no, I affirmed that. So that didn't feel good. How did you feel telling me no?
I didn't feel that bad telling you no.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Did you feel good?
I mean, yeah, I probably felt okay.
That's
felt pretty good.
A little sadistic. Yeah. But inevitably, like, if you're asking 1,000 people for $10, is someone going to give you $10? Say yes. Right?
Yes,
you're going to get
eventually.
lucky. Someone's going to ask you, and you're going to be surprised. You're going to be like, "Holy cow, they gave me $10." All right, so what's the point? Let's flip this a little bit. Now I've given you a pallet. I give you 1,000 gold bars on a pallet, Ross. You're in the same place, and you've got to hand out a gold bar. Ross, would you like a gold bar?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Awesome. And then the next, Ross 2, do you like a gold bar?
Yes, absolutely.
Now I'm giving out gold bars. I feel great, by the way, when I'm handing gold bars out. How do you guys feel in your mind? How does it feel to get a gold bar, Ross?
Feels fantastic.
It feels great, right? And so not only does it feel good for you to get a gold bar, it feels great for me to give a gold bar. So inevitably, if I ask 1,000 people if they want a gold bar, don't you think someone's going to be like, I'm busy, don't talk to me, I don't trust you, I don't want to hear it, don't want to hear your story, right? Yes, say yes, nod.
Yes.
Okay, what's my point? Let me get to it, okay? When you guys are calling through your database, are you asking for money or are you handing out gold bars? And here is a little tip for you. If you don't know what the gold bar is, you're probably asking for money. So I'm just going to give you a little gem because that's what Craig asked us to do, is to give you guys awesome free content here and make sure that you guys are taking away stuff you can implement in your business. Like, you need to pick up a gold bar before you ever pick up the phone. So an example of a gold bar is, like, people want to know what their home's worth. find out what their home's worth and call them and say, hey, Craig, it's Chase. I just did some research on your house's value. I want to make sure you knew what it was. Or, you know, is there another gold bar? Maybe you're doing an event in the area where you live, right? Do you want to say something, Craig?
Yeah, just like good news. Like my house has gone up 200,000. Like we've got the best gold bars on the planet to give to anybody that's owned their home for more than 24 months. Where we talked about this a few weeks ago, Chase. It's like luxury. For the first time possibly in history, you can go and buy a $2 million home or a $1.5 million home and get a substantially better interest rate than the family buying a $600,000 home. There are so many gold bars in this market. We just got to be aware of them and hand them out, right, buddy?
Absolutely. So education, items of value, you know, meeting in person, right? You might have giveaways. Maybe you have a local football team or whatever. Pick up the gold bar, then pick up the phone and make sure you're adding value. So second thing I came to talk about today, I'm going to ask a question, and this one might cut deep for some of you, but follow along with me because this can change your trajectory. Now, I've been doing real estate for 17 years, over 3,500 homes sold. These are the top 2 things I chose to teach you today. So I really hope you're paying attention and you guys are taking this to heart. Are you being genuine? What's my point? Okay. Some of you guys have databases of 300, 400, 500 people or more of people that you say that they're your friends and you're close. Now, the same people, because we happen to run a coaching company here, or Craig runs a coaching company and I happen to work for it. So I get to coach you guys. I coach real estate agents for the last 10 years. They say the same things. I don't want to call my database because I don't want them to feel like I'm bothering them. Or I don't want them to feel like it's only about real estate. You know, so I call them, but we never talk about real estate. And I say, I always ask this question, and you're getting a little private coaching session with 120 plus people in here. Let me ask you this. If you were not in real estate, would you call all 500 of those people 4 times a year? Say no. Okay, so then when I say, are you being genuine? When you call those 500 people and you are not talking about real estate, even though the only reason you're calling them is to talk about real estate, are you being genuine? Guys, you are in the business to make connections and help people with what you do best, which is real estate. And if you're not talking about real estate, guys, doesn't mean you call up and say, hey, Craig, you ready to buy a house? No, of course not. You connect with him and then you bring up, maybe you go into Ford, right? Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. When you talk about their work, they're going to talk about yours. Now you get a chance to talk about real estate. So those are the 2 things I wanted to talk about, Craig. Thank you for letting me jump on here. Hopefully I made the time limit there.
You crushed it. Look at that, 10-15. Good job, Chase. It's really just genius. Like, are you asking for something? Like, I'm in a contest. Do you know that's to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? That's asking for something. And by the way, I went through that class 10 times and I made 20 gazillion of those calls. And it is effective, but like you do feel that friction internally, and sometimes people are reaching out to you. On the flip side, that gold bar, and if you work with any of our RCC coaches, you're going to learn more about it. When you have items of value that you're calling and sharing, like, great news, here's what's happened, like, or here's what's happened in the luxury market, or heck, as long as you don't mind crackheads, like moving downtown Portland, and I can sell you a $1.5 million condo, right, Ross? And I can get it for you for 700 right now. Like, there's always an opportunity in the market. What, Katie, that one guy? It's the truth. I'm not kidding. If you want a $1.5 million condo for 700, call me, Portland, Oregon. I can hook you up. Sooner or later, the crackheads will go away. Like, but there's always an opportunity in every market. There just truly is. So find it, share those opportunities, hand out those gold bars. And it really doesn't matter what the general market is giving you. Your business is going to succeed. Everybody else is going to be back like, oh my gosh, like last year I sold so many homes and this year is really hard. All right, let's go to our next presenters. Super stoked for this group.
Hi there, my name is Matt Jenniser. I've been in the real estate industry for about 15 years, and over the course of my career path, you can imagine how many conferences I've attended to help improve the growth of my business. It really wasn't until I was exposed to Rieger Coaching and Consulting that I really saw the value of coaching. And prior to that, I had no idea what my actual aptitude and growth opportunities were. Rieger Coaching and Consulting consistently has helped push me and so many others to achieve their goals in their real estate career around balance, growth, and consistency. If you're looking to make a change and an impact in your career path, like it has for mine, I still encourage you to check out Rieger Coaching and Consulting. It truly will change your life.
Maddie G, thank you so much. Hey, just like all of you guys, we are in the lead generation business. We hand out a lot of gold bars and we give tremendous value. If any of you are not part of our world and you want to hear a little bit more about what we do, reach out to Laura. Her contact info is in the chat bar, and set a free coaching call. See what we can do for you. All right, next up, super stoked, something that was very challenging to do in the last couple of years. We've got an action-packed lineup for open houses. We've got Kelly with driving traffic. We've got Julie with prep for the open. Wow, the most successful people on the planet prep before they go to open houses or do any activity. During the open, the one and only Miss Bernadette, and the follow-up strategies. What do you do after the open? We got Mike Conway. So ladies and gentlemen, mostly ladies, Mike, you are the gentleman. Take it away, open houses.
All right, so I am primarily a listing agent, and my favorite strategy for getting more listings is the open house. 90% of my business from the time I was licensed in 2000 till now is and has been open houses. I'm in a brand new market this year where I was GPSing my way to and from the grocery store, and I didn't know anyone, and I knew I had to do open houses, and thank goodness now we have the opportunity to do that, because earlier in the year we didn't. So one of the things that I do before I even attend the open house is the prep, the planning. And in order to drive listing leads to my open house, I get really strategic. And I work with my title and my escrow, and I have them pull for me the next most likely properties to sell. They all have predictive analytics. They have Rebo Gateway or these different things. And I'm not just blanket targeting all of the homes around the open house, but I'm looking for those that have a high probability of selling. So I reach out to my title escrow and I ask them to send me 100 of the next most likely homes to sell. Send me the labels for those. And then I also ask for 100 of the longest long-term homeowners in a radius around that open house. So with those 200 labels, I then compose an invitation to all of those property owners, and I will screen share it real quick and kind of give you a preview of the invitation so you can see it. Can you see my screen? Okay, this is a preview of the invitation that I send, and again, this is targeted to those that are most likely to sell or the long-term homeowners. It tells them the open house times, please excuse any additional traffic, blah, blah, blah. But you'll see there's a QR code in the middle of that page. And that QR code, when they engage that goes to my landing page, and it will tell me the address and the name of the property that went on to find out how much their home is worth. In addition to the invitation I put in there, I also put in a flyer of the property with my name and my branding, right? There's no better time to create some connection is when you've got a sign in their yard, in their neighborhood, they're driving by it, they're seeing it every time they go to and from work, and then they're also getting this flyer to invite them. If I send out 200 of these invitations, I might get 4 hits on my QR code, and I will have probably 5 or 6 people that'll come in and say, hey, thank you for that invitation. That was really classy. I didn't really want to come in, but I did want to see what the house is like, and we may be moving. So this is one of my personal favorite strategies to getting me in front of more potential sellers. And this is my first year in my new market, and I'm on track to close 30 deals this year. And I just was getting back into real estate part-time, and it's kind of blown up. So that's kind of what I do to drive listings to my open houses. And I know I was talking with Julie. I'm in a market where in Arizona where it's really hot. I used to drop these at the doors and I used to door knock, but I know I talked with Julie and she's got a strategy where she takes kind of what I'm doing here and actually brings it into the into the neighborhood.
Really cool, really smart, Kelly. If you want to unshare, that'd be fantastic. I love that you're hitting the 100 nearest, and really smart, really strategic to hit the 100 homeowners that have lived there the longest. What a great way to drive listings, neighborhood presence, get action energy at the open house. Absolutely outstanding. Next up on open houses, as we just shared from Kelly, Julie, what do you do at your opens? How do you make them win for you?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Kelly. First off, I'm just so excited that open houses are back and that they are a thing and we have the opportunity to do them. I have found success in my open houses comes from all of my beforehand activities. Once I kind of changed my mindset on how I would gain my business from my open houses is when I started to see the success. So instead of looking for just buyers, I started, like Kelly was talking about, looking at it as an opportunity to gain more sellers. It's the perfect time for you to showcase to the whole neighborhood how hard you work for your clients and how hard you would then in turn work for them. And I found when doing so, neighbors then started reaching out to me about possibly listing their homes. So my first strategy in doing this is getting to know the neighbors. I would go door to door. Yep, you heard me right. I go door knocking. I personally invite them to the open. Maybe I apologize for the traffic. Ask them some questions on the neighborhood. How long have they lived there? Have they been in there? Have they been in the house that's actually having the open house before? Showcase the updates that my sellers have done before they went on the market. Ask if these people have any updates they plan to do. Maybe be a resource on what adds value and what doesn't. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always getting asked, should I do this kitchen remodel? Should I do landscaping lights? So be a resource to them. Ultimately, build the connection. My next strategy is to create a Twilight open house. So make it exclusive just to the neighbors. Give them a chance to talk to each neighbor more in depth, one-on-one. It also makes people feel special to be able to come in before the actual open house. So I've had great success in that and really getting to build genuine, deep conversations with people. The next thing I do is kind of as Kelly was talking about, I send out marketing flyers to homes in the area with the exact same specs. I don't know about you guys, but when I host an open house, oftentimes it's people coming in saying that they live down the street and their house is the exact same size. So they're always looking to see how their house compares to this house. And I take that as possible sellers for the future. Like anything, the success comes in the follow-up. Follow up by sending a flyer with an open house reminder. Thank them for talking with you. I then follow up a couple weeks later with market stats within the neighborhood. Try to be a wealth of knowledge. Like Chase was saying, bring them the gold bar. To recap, change your mindset from just trying to get buyers to also gaining sellers. Personally, meet the neighbors and make a great connection. Create an exclusivity around the neighborhood by inviting them to that Twilight open, and follow up with multiple touches. Don't let them forget you and be a resource for them on the market. I hope this helps you start thinking outside the box when you do your next open house. And now to Bernadette for her expertise on what to do during the open house.
1 second before we get the amazing Bernadette. Julie, you were a little nervous when we were doing our prep this morning. She killed it, didn't she? Let's give Julie a round of applause. Great job, Julie. Super smart, you know, door to door. And it's like, okay, well, it's raining in Eugene, Oregon, and it's Kelly, it's hot as heck in Arizona. So what I'm hearing is no excuses. I love the Twilight Open. Like, my life is changing drastically. I have a son that just started at Clemson, first one out of the house. But before that, there was no freaking way that I was going to be able to go to opens, like as a consumer, non-agent, on Saturdays and Sundays. I had 42 basketball games, soccer games, football games. But if you got a Twilight in my neighborhood from 4 to 7, 6 to 8, guaranteed I could head to that 4, 5, 6 average nights of the week. So you're getting an audience that you won't be able to find during the weekends. I love marketing same specs. I've actually never heard that before. Follow up, there we go. All right, without further ado, Bernadette always has great value. Bring it.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to talk about what happens during the open house. I remember challenging my team to really nail it so that we could be at a 1-to-1. For every one open house that we did, we were always bringing in one lead that we could close. And it all boiled down to the environment and the experience of what people felt once they entered. So everything that came before my presentation, yes, do all of that, because we ultimately need to drive people to the open house. Ultimately, we want to create an environment that says that you are worthy to be the agent of choice, whether it's to buy, help them purchase their home, or to help them sell the home. And through their engagement with me at the open house or with you guys at the open house, we want them to feel the difference. So I'm going to share an experience with you. Imagine you walk in, and when you walk in, there's a table. It's a table, it's like 3x5 that you buy at Costco. It's draped with a beautiful tablecloth, and in it are clipboards and pens, and you standing at the door. A lot of people say people tend to try and get away from you. They don't want to talk to anybody. Well, we brought in an official feeling, like everybody must stop at the door. You grab your paper, your clipboard, and in it, you tell everybody, listen, the sellers have graciously stepped out of the home so that you can tour the property. All they ask is that you give them feedback, because ultimately we want to know what we need to do to get the home sold. So one, we get them engaged in agreeing that the formality is you come in, the sellers have requested you to start filling out some paperwork. So I'm going to share my screen really quick as I continue to talk about what they're going to experience, because we don't have too much time. So this is an example of a high touch open house registry. We're not necessarily just asking for the names and the telephone numbers. We did exactly what we asked them to do at the beginning, which is tell me the feedback on the house. The sellers are expecting it. Now, this approach is using behavioral selling. If you're familiar with the DISC profile, the D, the I, the S, and the C, they all touch people differently. So the open house is going to be designed to approach everybody, to touch all 4 personality profiles. This form by itself has the D, the I, the S, and the C. It's very direct, letting them know, I want to do business with you, letting them know we should create a MLS custom search for you. Just simply fill this out at the bottom. Tell me about what you're looking for, because it just helps engagement if we knew timeline. And also, what are we looking for? So we're giving them the feel that we're going to work together to build something, to curate an MLS search that they wouldn't get otherwise. And ultimately here, we're pretty much letting them know this is from the most reliable data source that's out there, and that's from the Realtor Association. It's different from Realtor.com, it's different from Zillow. This is straight from the source, and you'll get the listings real time, which in the competitive market is really important to be the first one to know. So this just shares a little bit about this here. You can put your QR code and it can direct to wherever you want it to go. And again, letting them know, I want to help you sell your home. So what does the experience feel like? There's music, there's aroma, whether it's a scented candle or a plug-in. We let them know at the beginning, and I'm talking really fast just because time is really limited on my end. We're letting them know, welcome to the open house. The sellers have requested this. I want to let you know a little bit about what's going on in the open house. In the master bathroom, you're going to find information on schools. In the kitchen, you're going to find refreshments and also a copy of the seller's disclosure. In the dining room, you're going to find the market reports along with lists of other properties that are available to see that are currently on the market. And if you have some free time later this afternoon, I'm available after the open house for some quick showings for people who are ready to make a move immediately. So we give them the whole environment. In the meantime, to just share some of the checklists that I have, you could create a floor banner where it's got your branding on it, along with a QR code to schedule an appointment. That can be like in the living room somewhere. So we want to give them the overall experience of what it's like to be in relationship with me and to earn that business. Allow them to feel the difference in that short 3 to 5 to 10 minutes that they're in. Ultimately, this is designed to keep them in the home as long as possible. So I am beyond my time, and I'm going to answer any questions, Craig, that you might have for me.
I'd say everybody just put them in the chat bar. So this is very intentional. Bernadette, thanks for talking fast. As always, absolutely crushed it. Purpose of today is to give you guys some takeaways of what we're doing here at RCC, what our phenomenal coaches have, concepts that we bring to our coaching clients. And Bernadette, like seriously, I've got a team meeting right after this with my entire personal company, my sales team. So we have a coaching company, I got a brokerage. Like I'm bringing these slides. This is super badass. So reach out to Laura if you want to copy these slides. Reach out to Laura if you want to connect and learn what we do here at our coaching RCC. And let's give Bernadette a round of applause. And Mike is our only gentleman of the open house crew. Mike, what do you got for us on follow-up? We did everything right. We got all these names and numbers, buddy. What do we do?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys like to do open houses too, so why not? Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Awesome content so far on open houses and what to do to execute them and prep for them and plan and all that kind of stuff. But what blows my mind is how many people will go through all of that effort and then not have a plan or a strategy in place for follow-up for the people that come in, the people that you have relationships with and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to run through some things just because I know we are short on time and make it kind of quick. But when people are in the open house, I like to, when I'm having a conversation and trying to connect quickly with them, make sure they understand that I'm set the expectation with them that I'm going to reach out to them, I'm going to follow up so that they already have that seed planted in their head in advance and they kind of know what to expect. But I think one of the most important things is to have a CRM system that you're adding people to. It doesn't matter what CRM system you're using. I look at this as kind of like the cash register, your business. And with having a good CRM system that you're utilizing, gives you opportunity to make withdrawals from it whenever you need to. So getting them set up on a drip campaign that's specific to open houses, that is, reaching out to them consistently and things like that is super important. The other thing is I'm going to follow up with each one of the open house leads with a text message afterwards that just says, hey, thanks for popping by. Here's a link to the house that you walked through. And of course, that link is going to guide them, direct them back to my personal website so that they can have the opportunity to look at other houses in the neighborhood or outside the neighborhood, get them to even give me more information about themselves and what they're looking for so that I can continue that strategy for follow-up and building a relationship and things like that. And then probably the biggest thing is to make sure that I have a plan in place for the next 24 to 48 hours to call and reach out to personally to each person, thank them for coming to the open house. If they were a resident of the neighborhood, make sure I specifically touch on that, see if they'd like me to come by and, look at their property, compare it to what we saw or what I think it could be valued at and things like that. And the biggest thing to really stay on top of and remember, in my personal opinion, is the money is always in the follow-up, and the follow-up game needs to be strong. And too many people are just, forget about these aspects, or they think it's too complicated. And it really comes down to just keeping it simple, right? Have the CRM system in place to put people into, utilize the automation of the CRM system to stay in touch with these people, reach out to them as soon as possible while it's still fresh in their minds, lead them back to your website so you can continue to, try to attract some conversations there and things like that, and just keep that follow-up going and on place. So like I said, I kept it very short and sweet, to the point. Follow-up is key, in my opinion. So hopefully that helps on how we handle follow-up.
Mike, I would coach with you, buddy. Like, I could not agree
Appreciate
more.
it.
Like, you started the presentation, like, it blows my mind the agents do all this effort and then don't follow up. It blows my mind as well, buddy. It just does. And I'm not lying, I wrote it down. Money's in the follow-up. Like, we do all of this work. And it's like, oh my gosh, they didn't call me back for the 2 times I reached out. Maybe they were sick. Maybe their kid had a soccer game. Maybe they had a deadline at work. Like, just follow up. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Like, if they're an asshole and they're really mean to you, like, take them out of your CRM.
Absolutely.
And I also really appreciated you said, like, I don't care what CRM you use. Like, that's the most golden question. Like, what CRM to use? Every successful real estate professional I know uses a CRM, and they use, like, between all of them, like 400 different ones. But the difference of their success and everybody else, and you know this, Mike, is they use it every single day. All right, we're going to go to our next commercial break. Mike, great job. And if you are on database, get ready. You are on deck. Commercial break's coming next. There we go. All right, database. We've got Darcy, phenomenal with database. We got the White Knight, Mr. Brian House. We got Ross, who literally owns his own CRM, and he calls it like the anti-CRM. It's about really having a relationship with your database. And this guy created that with a software designer, like mastered CRM. So Darcy, I think you're kicking us off. Take it away.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I'm just going to assume all of you have a database. If you don't have a database yet, that's something else we can get into at another time, but making sure you have a database. And Craig and Mike, I'm just going to kind of jump in again on what people said about CRM. Number one question I get when we're chatting database is, well, what CRM do you use? Again, doesn't matter. The best one is the one you'll use. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of an embarrassing secret. I worked off an Excel spreadsheet for at least a decade. That's all I had. I didn't have a CRM. I will tell you, it's way more work to do that instead of a CRM. But don't not touch your clients, not move into some kind of touch system because you haven't found your CRM. You can't afford a CRM. You don't have them inputted yet. Just don't let that be your barrier to really reaching out and touch your database. And the other question I get asked a lot is, you know, why? Why do I need to touch my clients 12, 36, 55, however many times? Why do I need to do that? They know me. They know I'm an agent. Why do I need to do that? Well, I think all of us know, with the exception of this group where we all know about 1,000 agents, everybody knows a dozen different agents. How are you going to make sure that you're the agent they call? When they think, hey, I've got to buy or sell my house, you want to make sure it's you, because we all know that you rather have your best friend's sister in the car as opposed to a Zillow lead who also is in 5 other people's cars. So let's make sure. And then the other thing, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and hope that technology does not fail me, because that sometimes happens. What I'm pulling up here is our personal touch campaign. You have to have a system. All of us are out there busy buying and selling real estate and thinking, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I've got to do that. I've got to write that newsletter. I got to do that Popeye. Well, if you don't have it planned, it is not going to happen. We all know what our days look like. So I suggest that you start end of the year, you just look at what's my touch system going to be like for the next year. How many times am I going to touch them? How am I going to touch them? What does that look like? And just do a one page, just get it on paper. This is my plan. And if you have a marketing person, awesome. If you don't have a marketing person and it's you, that's great too. Also do a 12-month calendar. So it looks like, for example, one of our touches is our direct mailings. So maybe our calendar looks like on the 1st is our postcard creation. What does that design look like? On the 5th, that's going to be approved. On the 7th, that's going to hit the mailboxes. So making sure you have that system set up. I'm not going to go through all of these touches, but it just kind of gives you a great idea of the different options. The biggest thing I'm going to say is don't be overwhelmed by my list. This is many, many years in the making. I do it every year. We kind of evaluate, what are we going to add? What are we going to take away? Just start with something. And if that's once a month, fine. But just make sure you start and you don't get paralyzed by it overall. And the other thing, so if you look through here, it talks about different ways we can touch them. Events are phenomenal ways to touch your client because you actually touch them at least 4 times during that whole process. Lots of things you can do. These are more client care, more buyer touches. What do we do that's a little bit extra for our clients? How do we do that? Same with sellers. And then also, I think what's almost the most important on the touching your database, you've got your systematic that they're happening no matter what happens in the background. The biggest thing I want you to think about is watch what's going on in your clients' lives. This is what has changed in our world that I think is amazing. We have this awesome opportunity with socials. People post their whole life on social. Pay attention, spend some time on Facebook, spend some time on Instagram, and really look like, oh my gosh, they just came down with COVID. That's where our sick day mugs came from. Little Darcy mug that pops in with like tea and honey, and like you're just thinking them, you're paying attention. New baby, marriage, they lost a parent, referral gift cards, and most of all, what we like to do that's a little bit different that we always get comments on are the handwritten note. Like nobody does it anymore. Just make sure, again, the reason for a touch campaign is you are going to be there when they think, hey, I need to sell my mom's house. They just had a baby. Make sure you drop that baby gift off. They've probably gone ahead and they're out of their house. They need more room. pay attention to people's lives and make sure that you're in front of them when they're ready to go. I'm not
Darcy,
sure how I
you
did on
always
time.
bring it. I love that you shared, you and I started coaching together, what, a good decade ago now?
Mhm.
And I don't think it any touches. And this is an evolution of 10 years, but you start somewhere, get better, better, and better. The one thing I just want to add to your presentation, ladies and gentlemen, you do this. The reason most agents don't touch your database is because they're too busy being realtors selling homes, and they don't like doing this. Is the administrative side of your company. So you do this yourself, and it will work, and you will make more money. I guarantee you cannot do this without making more money. And as soon as you make more money, you hire somebody and you put him or her in charge of it. So often we hire a TC because we hate doing paperwork. Cool. Well, then have your TC do this as well for an hour a day. This is not a full-time job, and your business will absolutely skyrocket. So great job, Darcy. Brian, the White Knight. God, it kind of looks like a white knight. Brian, what do you got for us?
Hey, Craig, thanks so much. Yeah, so the White Knight, who is that? What do they do? How do we identify that person in our world? For a lot of us, it might be a past client. For some people in different markets, it might be just another industry professional who shares the same vision and values on how we treat clients. So the White Knight really is someone who helps define and grow your business because they believe in what you're doing, and they ultimately want to send you business as much as possible. So for myself, as an example, it was another industry professional who I had not done business with, actually a financial advisor here in the area. And we sat down, had lunch, started talking about what it looked like to treat clients with the utmost care and professionalism. And as we started getting to talking, we had a lot of similar ideas and visions around what that looked like. And together we started referring business back and forth. Last year alone, I want to say that the relationships we shared between each other were probably upward of 7 or 8 transactions for real estate. And he ended up with 3 or 4 new clients for his business. Being able to find someone who understands and values the way that we treat our clients is really important, because these people are an extension of our arm of business, or our philosophy on why we do what we do. So people who can elevate the level of client care, who have the same philosophy around communication, who have the same values around clients for life, these people can truly act as tremendous assets to the business, and they can ultimately make or break what would be an average year to a great year. So when talking about where to identify them, it can be a past client. It can be someone who shouts your name from the rooftops, who says, God, Craig, you not only sold my house, but you helped me from start to finish. You took care of all my questions. You answered everything that I had, come up throughout the process. And I just couldn't imagine doing business with anyone else. And then they take that on their own and they run to the neighborhood market. They run to their place of business. They go to the kids' schools, and they just constantly are sharing your information, talking about the experience that you provided. And from that, your business just continues to grow. And when you find someone like that, you have to recognize it. You have to acknowledge the extra effort that these people are taking upon themselves, because they truly are happy for you and they're excited to see your business grow, because they want to share that experience that you provided to them, and that they know that you will continue to provide for anyone that they refer you to. So recognizing that through special events, as Darcy brought out, the people who constantly send you more business, how do you recognize and acknowledge them? And it might be a special dinner. It might be an event for their kids at their school. It might be one of a number of things that you do. Excuse me. But the goal is to acknowledge the fact that they are taking part in the success that you're having, and really get to know how you can say thank you. And I can tell you from personal experience, simply asking somebody, Craig, you sent me so much business this last year. I want to say thank you in some form of or fashion to you. What would be a great way for me to do that? And these are the types of people who, if they're truly taking on that role of White Knight, will come to you and say, Craig, I want to see you be successful. Would you mind, helping out with an event at my kid's school? And that right there means the world to them. It's not a major monetary credit. It's just showing that you care, and you'll spend the same amount of time and energy helping them that they have done for you. So when you find someone like that, hold on to them, value them, and appreciate them.
It's amazing, Brian. My first white knight, early in my career, like even like 12, 13 closings, at that point, lower commissions a long time ago, but still 100K in commissions, like changed my life. And I had this grand plan, like I'm gonna send her to Hawaii, like first class, like, and then somebody, I think it was a coach at the time, was like, you knucklehead, she's doing this because she loves you. She's doing this because you gave her great service. She's doing this because you take such good care of her family and friends. She's doing this because she wants to see you succeed and she wants others to have that same great experience. And all you've shared is like, find that person and just keep blessing it. Like they're not looking for a thank you to Hawaii, but they would love something that's mutually beneficial. Like come and teach a business session at my kid's school, or come and volunteer at this event I'm at, or come to this barbecue I'm having. So great job, Brian.
Let me sneak in 1 sec.
Yeah, buddy.
There's more to this, exclamation point. Brian's been in the business for 6 years and I get to work with him every single day. He taught me the white knight concept, and to watch what he's done is amazing. He'll sell $60 million himself this year and about 65 transactions. And I'd say 50% of it, because we track everything, will come from 5 human beings that have given him that business. So I hope you took notes.
Great job, Brian.
Give people reward back for helping you. They want to help you, and dude is crushing it.
He certainly is, as all of our coaches are. And the next guy that crushes it, Ross.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much, Craig. Thanks so much for this. And I'm so happy to be part of this community. And I want to talk about one of the things first that, Craig, that you mentioned, and also Darcy, which is really systemizing as much as you can. As soon as you want to take some things off your plate like TC, doing that to grow your business. I'm really into systems. I wasn't for about 9 years, and worked way harder than I need to. So today, what I'm going to show you is how I use systems to know who to call in my sphere, and then also what to talk about. Okay. So first of all, as Darcy was saying before, like, why call our sphere? Why even do it? Right? In all markets, but especially a shifting market, the most important action that any of us can take is to make sure that we are front of mind to the people that know us, love us, have already worked with us, right? When they have somebody they know ask if they need a realtor, we have to make sure that they say you. I have been on many a listing appointment where they start talking about how great their buyer's agent was when they bought the place. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I here? And eventually I'll ask, I'll say, who were they? And they're like, yeah, I can't remember. Do not be that person. Make sure that they remember your name. I shouldn't have been in that house. It was great. I was, and I'll make sure that they remember who I am. Also, in the past few years in my market, so many people have been licensed. This is probably true everywhere in the country. Why will they use me over their nephew that just got a real estate license? So beyond positioning myself as an expert, I want them to know that I care about them. I care about what happens to them in a transaction. That is where calling and keeping in touch comes in. So first thing I want to talk about is, how have I systemized who to call? I'm going to share my screen with you. Here we go. Okay. So how do I know who to call? It is crucial, as I said, for me to systemize, right? So here's what I mean by that. I only want to be doing my highest and best use, which is to maintain relationships, create new ones, etc. It's crucial for me that I take the prep out of calling so that I can just time block my work morning for however long I'm going to do it, an hour or so of calling people, sphere contact, and just sit down and get to work. If I have to agonize over my entire database and wonder who to call and who I last called, I'll never be consistent. So my CRM cycles through every one of my database. It automatically does it with people that I'm not transactional with. It doesn't include those people because that's the low-hanging fruit. It's easy for me to talk to people I'm transactional with. What I need to do is talk to all the other people in my sphere. So this is cycling through every 90 days, showing me who to talk to. And then once I talk to them, it also allows me to make a note, right? I mean, whether, any CRM you're using, you should be able to make a note on there saying, the last thing you talked about with them, right? Because when their name comes up again, I want to make sure that I can go back and say, like, what did we talk about last time? How long ago was it? I need all of that to be logged because I'm not going to remember it. If I'm doing this right and I'm talking to people constantly, then I shouldn't be remembering it necessarily. So how do I know what to talk about? Well, when we get a new client or referral, we always do a video meet with the team and ask questions. However, sometimes you find yourself on the phone with them in the car or on the way to an appointment or running errands and learning about people on the fly, especially if a call just comes in and you're trying to create rapport, right? When this happens, it's really hard to take note for future reference. So after meeting them, I let them know they will be receiving a getting to know you email to help with anything that they may have forgotten. But really what I know is, and what I've learned from experience is that this is where I get an absolutely ridiculous amount of data. People put in crazy amounts of data. They're even giving me profile pictures. They're giving me like all their social media links. It's awesome. You can do this easily with you can just create a Google form that you send people and then put it in your CRM. My CRM has it built in where I just slide this thing over and I can send this email getting to know you. And the point is this, right? Like when I look, like here's the fields that goes to them, which I customized, right? You'll notice that what I'm asking them isn't what they're looking for in a house. It's really, yes, it's contact info, but it's more about who they are as a person. Because when I call them, when their name comes up for me to call them, I want to look at their profile because this will go right. When they fill it out, they hit the button and it goes in their profile automatically. I want to know, I want to get right into the forward, right? And I want to know, just be able to look at it and be inspired of what to talk to them about. But the thing I will tell you about looking, what they're looking for in a home is I've included this, and you can create this yourself as well in a Google form. But if you look at the bottom, this features and benefits matrix. So here's what this is. With buyers, we're asking them to tell us, okay, what must you have in a house, right? But then also why? Why do you need a fence? They say, oh, I've got to have a fenced yard. Okay, why? Tell me why. Is it because you have a dog? Is it because you want privacy? Is it some other reason? Because how many of us have gotten for buyers, a list of 10 must-haves, deal killers, and then the house they buy only has 3 of them? It's because it wasn't about the thing at all. There was this other reason. The other thing I will tell you that's really fun and saves you a ton of time and frustration is if you have a couple looking for a house, have them fill out the features and benefits separately, because you will find that they are frequently totally not on the same page, although they think each other are. And it's really fun to have the meeting where then they have to bring both of them to you. And there's a lot of laughs and it's really funny. But what it does is it gets everybody on the same page before you go look at 15 houses, right? So expedites the entire process. So I hope some of this inspired you. Go call your sphere, take notes on who they are as a person so that you show that you care about them, and there's no way your business won't grow.
Ross, great job. What's the name of your personal CRM that you're the co-owner and founder of?
It's usesphere.com. The app for it's on the App Store, on Android and Apple. But if you go to usesphere.com, you can check it out.
All right. Would you offer a discount code or something?
Absolutely. I'll have a code that we'll send out that'll give everybody a free month.
All right, why don't you drop your email address below? Anybody interested in checking out his CRM? It's badass. Our company is literally beta testing now, and I talked to the team yesterday. We're getting great results. Ross, great job.
Thank you.
Share the screen. We're gonna do a quick commercial break, and we're gonna wrap up with our final speakers.
I've been coaching with Rieger Coaching now for a little over 2 years. When I first got started with them, business was a mess. I needed to do massive hiring. I worked crazy amount of hours. My coach Josh was able to help me through that, get staff hired, get systems in place. I spent a lot of time with my family. My work-life balance is great. I don't know where I would be without coaching, specifically Rieger Coaching and Consulting.
I don't know, what I heard there was business was a mess, Josh. And then the end of it was like, I've got a lot of balance. And what is how much has Chris's business gone up?
5 times over. And I'm more proud of him than anything that his goal is to spend more time with family. So 25% less time working and 25% more income year over year. And he's done that 2 years in a row. So pretty sweet.
Yeah, we got a lot of guests on today's call. Changing market. I've never been more thrilled to be a co-owner with Josh and Andrea in this coaching company. And at the end of the day, we don't suck. Like, we're really, really good at what we do, and you're getting experience to our coaches today. So if you're interested, reach out to Laura, reach out to me, reach out to Josh, reach out to Andrea, reach out to the coaches. All right, next up, without exception, to the smartest people I know, we've got Erica, who I've had the privilege of talking to for 3 days in a row. Love her dearly. She is brilliant. And Mr. Josh on systems and what to track. Take it over, guys. Erica, I think you're first.
Alrighty, so yeah, we're diving into P&L, which most people kind of cringe when they start talking about money and budgeting and profit and loss. It just kind of goes. One of the things I'm super passionate about, I've been a team leader and a coach. I've been in this industry for almost 20 years. And so I've seen different markets and I've seen different, areas that agents can grow in. And that's probably one of the biggest areas is looking and treating this business like a business. Like, how do we put our business owner hat on, not just our salesperson hat on? Easy to go out and sell houses, make money. We've got expenses. And then usually by next October, and I say next because we don't file our taxes in April, we file them like the following October, then we figure out what we spent a year ago. So I'm super passionate. I've been doing this religiously for like probably about 10 years now. And my financial world has just completely shifted by doing this, is creating a profit and loss statement and looking at it every single month. And so what we do is just break down your expenses. It's super boring and it's super awesome at the same time, because then you can really see how many of us are like, when we're looking at if we ever actually stop to say, how many things do I actually subscribe to, right? We're just like picking up rocks is what we call it. Like, we're walking down the street or we go to a conference and we're like, hey, I like what they're doing. Ooh, let's pick up a rock. And then we're like, that's kind of cool. And then we use it for a few weeks. And then we're like, we toss that, we go to a different conference, we learn something new. And all of a sudden we've got all of these expenses and all of these things that are in they're just coming off of our credit card each month. And we're not even paying attention to what's giving us return on our investments. Like, where are we spending our money? How are we being super strategic with our money? And are we holding our money accountable? And right now, more than ever, it's super easy to lose track of all of that when the market's good. And then all of a sudden, when the market shuts off, and just like, we heard earlier, if mortgages are down, mortgage applications are down, and all of our incomes start shifting, but our expenses stay the same, then obviously our profits are going to be much less. And sometimes we don't realize that till months later when we finally look up and go, gosh, there's no money in the account anymore. So one of the things we teach here at Rieger Coaching is really how to have profit and loss statements. And then we also love to do what's called budgets versus actuals. You guys are going into budgeting season, planning season, creating budgets. How do I even create a budget? Our coaches will help you work with that, and then figuring out each month, like, actually, like, what did we say we wanted to do and what are we actually doing? And it's just a phenomenal way to start treating this like a business. And there's no better time right now than right now, because our industry is shifting around a little bit and we got to start paying attention more to our money.
Awesome, Erica. We're excited. Erica's going to roll out a full class on this financials. Erica, like, you make financials sexy, you make them entertaining, you make them exciting. Like, I'm serious. It's not one of those things in the business that we just want to put our heads down and it's like, oh, I sold a bunch of homes. What do we call it in Texas? Big hat, no cattle. Yep. And the rest of the country, I call it shiny BMW, no money. Right? Like, Erica's going to show you how to make the money and keep the money. And I see some heads nodding. You know what that means. All right, Josh Cooley, take us home. It's our last presenter. Systems, what to track? My business partner and friend.
I see it's 11 right now, Pacific, so I'll be quick. Okay, so what you measure grows, right? So there's four specific items that I'll talk to my clients about, and all the coaches know this and we work on this. You got vision, strategy, process, and people. You're all CEOs of your own business, whether you're on a team or you're your own company or you are the CEO, you're the CEO, right? So vision, what are we tracking? Oh, right now, do you quit? Or chances are your vision didn't change, right? If you've got a big vision for your business, for most of us in this call, it didn't change. But reality is about 50% of the agents in most markets are going to go bye-bye in the next year, right? So vision, strategy, right now, slow down and focus on revenue, okay? We just went from a grenade approach market to a sniper approach. Right. So the strategies within our business we are tracking where our sourcing is, right? And we're getting way more in the weeds with the business we're going after. So price points have changed. It went from being a seller's market to maybe more of a buyer's market. So we're changing our strategy there. So we're tracking the market, right? Process, leads, and database, right? So leads, we want to check the flow. What are your expectations on leads every month? And what are those conversion rates, right? Zillow should be about 15 to 20%. Google, maybe 1 to 2%. Sphere, 60% of those leads and referrals you get, you're going to close. Are you aware of that so you can focus on where to spend your time? And last is people, right? Do you have the right leverage? If you have a bigger team is your leverage doing the right activity day to day? Because in any type of market shift, if your team is doing the same activities today they were doing 6 months ago, you're missing the mark, right? So we're tracking what people are actually doing. And family, are you tracking time with your family? Are you spending balanced time not working, right? That's a choice. So not a lot of numbers are to track. You're tracking the business on, are you focusing on the right things? I have 2 quick slides I want to show. We're using these right now on my team daily. This is from Stephen Covey. Is that up? There we go. Can everyone see that? We good? So 4 quadrants. This is where you spend all of your time. This quadrant right here will make you rich and happy. This one right here will make you broken, sad or whatever happens with that. We take this form, again, Stephen Covey, and daily we fill this guy out. This is my task list. Every morning I start and track the tasks I need to do on a sticky note. When I come to the office with the team, I put it where it needs to be so we're doing the most important things first. And I can tell you this looks a lot different now with more intentional items than it did 6 months ago, and we were able to just react our way through the business. That's what I got. Craig, mute.
There we go. I'm back. All right, I'm gonna let you guys out of here. Give me about 30 seconds and we will wrap this bad boy up. Great job, Josh.
Baby.
All right. Hey guys, we're a coaching company and our motto is we're coaching greatness. If you want to learn more, you got a QR scan here. We got 1 more slide, so get your phones out. It's on the next one. And we've got a couple quick giveaways. $500 off. So if you're a guest, schedule a free coaching call with us. If you ultimately sign up, we'll give you another $500 off your first month of coaching. If you're a current client, you got a friend that joined today, you got a friend down the hall, you got a friend in another city, it's a licensed realtor, and he or she ultimately joins our company and you refer, we'll give you $500 off your next month of coaching. This is good through the month of September. And I just want to wrap with today's teaching, today's presenting. There's people excited. I've seen a ton of notes. I've seen people asking for slides. You were like, yeah, I could implement this right now in my business. Good job. I hope you do. Francesca's got a big smile. She's going to. Like, go and take it. Go and make it happen. But at the end of the day, Josh, what coaching is we're going to hold you accountable. We're going to check in. We're going to see what got in the way. We're going to remind you of the things that you said you were going to do, and we're going to ensure they get done. So we're going to go from being excited to being intentional and action-oriented and creating change, which I truly believe, at least in the last decade, has never been more important in our industry. I loved what you said, Josh. We went from grenades to snipers. We're going to help you be a very efficient sniper in this next market. So if you're interested in coaching, reach out. For those who are part of our community, we love and appreciate you. Coaches, great job. Thanks, everybody. Go and have a wonderful day. Take care.